just getting the load on. He starts talking about hunting people, like that book. It says how you can put a light at the end of a gun to use as a sight in the dark.
He said that.
Yeah. So I asked him, how would you get away with it? And he said it'd be easy because there'd be no real motive to the thing. Then he said he'd write letters to the police and call himself Zodiac to mess with them.
They like messing with people.
You're positive he said Zodiac?
Yeah. I thought it was a stupid name, so I told him. He got up all upset and said, I don't care what you think. I thought about it a long time, and that's the name I'm going to use.
Did you feel like he'd been thinking about it a long time?
He was raw about losing his job at the school. He talked about shooting out the tires of a school bus and picking off the little darlings.
He actually used those words.
That's what made me remember. Afterwards, I told my wife I didn't want to see him again, and I haven't since. Other thing is, Lee's into skin diving. I know he's been up to that lake a bunch of times.
Lake Berryessa. Did you ever go with him?
A couple times. We went fishing by Pood Creek, near there.
Tell them when you put it together.
About a year ago. In the paper, there was a story about the Zodiac. And it all comes back. I tried to call the local cops.
They blew him off. Thought he was a nut.
And you're sure the conversation you had about Zodiac took place on January 1st, 1968?
It couldn't have been any later. I started a new job in LA on January 20th. I had to move.
This is my problem. This guy,
Arthur Lee Allen?
this guy Lee just lays out his entire evil plan to a fishing buddy on New Year's Day.
I don't know. He's angry. He's been drinking, been thinking about it for a while. I can buy that.
So why didn't Shane contact us sooner?
He checked. He did. First recorded contact with the police department about Allen was in Pomona, January 10th, 1970. He just got lost in the shuffle.
Did Shane have anything against Alan? Did Alan screw his wife or anything?
We're going to do a full background check. But I got to tell you, I like this guy.
So let's pull some handwriting samples. Hi. I talked to Sherman, but he got the samples. What are you having?
BLT.
So, the check stubs are awash. There's not enough handwriting. The application's got more, but it doesn't look like Z, so he can't rule them in, but he can't rule them out either.
Well, that's vague.
He needs more samples. Also, our guy's a pervert. When Mel got the application from Valley Springs, I told him that Alan had been fired for touching kids.
Touching.
Polite euphemism. So what do you want to do?
Like phone calls.
Are you done with the fries?
Go ahead.
Did you and Mr. Cheney have a chance to look at the copies of the Zodiac letters we sent you?
Yeah, some of this stuff is pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, creepy like Lee. He misspells words like that. He thinks it's funny.
What about the handwriting?
I don't know. Don't you have experts for that stuff?
Oh man, that questioning document says it's inconclusive.
Maybe he did it with his other hand.
The letters are a little too neat for someone to have written with the wrong hand.
But not for Lee, right?
What do you mean?
He's ambidextrous. He can write with either hand. Didn't you guys know that?
In everyday life, Alan uses his left hand. Job applications, letters to friends, etc. He writes the Zodiac letters with his right hand, producing a different handwriting that he can't be linked to.
We've got to see this guy, Chief.
Where is he?
Vallejo, he works at Union Oil in Pinhole. His brother's up there too.
See them both. Make sure you call Mullinax. It is his backyard.
All right, because that works so well for us in Riverside. Cooperation, that's us. At all costs.
Document here. Coke machine's busted, by the way. I'll go get him for you.
So how do you guys want to do this? Well, Bill talked to me in Florence. He leans we follow.
It's okay by me.
Mr. Allen, I'm Inspector Bill Armstrong. This is Inspector Dave Tosky and Sergeant Jack Mullinax. We're investigating the Zodiac murders in San Francisco and Vallejo. Please, sit down. The informant notified us that you made certain statements 11 months prior to the first Zodiac murder. If they're true, they're quite incriminating. Do you recall having any such conversation?
No?
Have you ever read or heard anything about the Zodiac?
when it was first in the paper, but I didn't follow it after those first reports.
Why not?
Too morbid. I told all this to the other officer
Which other officer?
from Vallejo.
You remember his name?
No, but it was right after the murder at the lake.
And what did you tell this officer?
I told him that I'd gone to Salt Point that weekend to skin dive, that I was alone, but I met a couple there. I have their names at home if you want.
That would be great, Arthur.
Lee.
What?
Lee. Nobody calls me Arthur. Also, that day when I came home, my neighbor saw me. It was around 4, but I forgot to tell the other officer that.
Neighbor's name?
Bill White. He died a week or so afterwards. Heart attack, so I didn't think to call to follow up. The knives I had in my car with the blood on them, that blood came from a chicken that I killed for dinner.
What?
I had knives in my car that weekend. Maybe Bill Solomon called the other officer on me.
Well, we'll be checking in on that. Let me ask you something else. Were you ever in Southern California at any time in 1966?
Is this about the Riverside killing?
Yes.
Well, I guess I was there around that time. I used to go down there a lot. I like the auto races.
Foreman says that you're ambidextrous.
No, that's untrue.
You can't write with both hands.
My teachers tried to make me when I was a kid, but I couldn't. I'm left-handed.
He also said that you made statements about killing school children.
That is horrible. That's a horrible thing to say.
So you aren't angry about being fired from Valley Springs for touching your students?
I'm not the Zodiac. And if I was, I certainly wouldn't tell you.
That's a nice watch.
Thank you.
May I see it? May I see it? Where'd you get it?
It's a Christmas gift from my mother 2 years ago.
That's very sweet. So tell me something, Arthur. You don't remember anyone you might have had a conversation with regarding the Zodiac?
Maybe Ted Kidder of Phil Tucker at Vallejo Recreation. But I couldn't be positive. I used to work there. The most dangerous game.
What?
The most dangerous game. That's why you're here, isn't it? It was my favorite book in high school. It's about this man who waits for people to get shipwrecked on this island. Because he was tired of hunting animals, he hunted the people for the challenge.
And man is the most dangerous animal of all?
That's the whole point of the story. Great book. Or at least that's what I told Phil. There you go.
Sure. Thanks for your time.
I'm willing to help in any way possible. I look forward to the day when police officers are no longer referred to as pigs.
Thanks. We'll be in touch.
Does anyone think the suspect warrants further investigation?
These are copies of some of the Zodiac letters that were sent. We'd like you to take a look at them.
You think my brother's the Zodiac?
Well, we're looking at him.
Are you going to arrest him?
Mrs. Allen, we don't arrest people just because we're interested in them.
Well, Lee's always been troubled.
Is it true about the children?
Unfortunately, we don't see him much anymore since we found out.
What are your feelings about Don Chaney?
Don Chaney, my old roommate. Is he the one who contacted you?
That's confidential.
Well, Don's a very reliable guy. If he were to tell you something, I believe it to be true.
This one.
What about it?
Here, where he spells Christmas with 2 S's. We got a Christmas card from Lee a couple of years ago. He spelled it the exact same way. Christ Mass.
Would you still have that?
I can look for it.
Thank you, that'd be great.
Is there anything else we can do to help?
The brother said he would search Lee's apartment next time he went out of town.
Get your own warrant.
For the time being. If we do find something, Mole and X will go to the DA in Vallejo, and we can search the place properly. Now, I got a chance to talk to the cop who interviewed Lee Allen 2 days after the Berryessa murders. Doesn't remember how he got onto him, but didn't think he looked like a killer, so he didn't like him for Z.
What do you do?
I wish I could have taken the guy in there.
Take it slow, Dave. Try and find more stuff for Sherwood. A match will get us farther on the warrants.
Avery's on 2.
Tell him to screw.
Want me to communicate that verbatim, or can I spice it up a little?
This suspect is not your Zodiac.
This sample matches the canceled checks in the application.
Perfectly.
So we just retested the left hand. I mean, we know he's ambidextrous.
In 38 years, I've never seen anyone that ambidextrous. Both ends would have commonalities. I'm sorry. Just not gonna work.
Homicide, Tusky. Dave, check Mullenix. Yeah.
Struck up with the judge. Won't sign off on the warrant for Allen's.
Why not? Said it wasn't enough. Now, unless we bring him a handwriting match or some evidence Well, that... how are we going to get evidence if we can't toss the house?
I don't know.
Truly, I'm sorry.
No, thank you, Jake.
What do you want to do?
Done all I can do with that Vallejo. We need Allen's right hand. We can't get it without a warrant.
Are there other guys we should be looking at?
Only what?
2,300?
Okay, then.
Okay then.
Paul, you wrote the Justice Department asking to be put in charge of the Zodiac investigation.
I merely suggested
On our letter.
that those with intimate knowledge of the case create an information clearinghouse to promote an exchange of free clothes.
I intend that you run.
Well, who better than me? The locked man.
Paul, if you want to work here, I need 3 things. 1, stop boozing. 2, stop doing whatever else it is you're doing. And 3, cut this nonsense out.
Sweetest of Templetons, if at any time you feel my excellent work is no longer in step with this trashy provincial rag, I'll more than happily decamp for greener pastures.
Paul, I mean it.
Paul? What was that?
An editorial tentative. You want to grab a drink?
It's 10 in the morning.
Late breakfast, early lunch, you know.
Are you okay?
No. Thank you for asking.
Tony! Let's go out. Paul, where are you going?
So you moved off my brother-in-law.
We couldn't get a warrant.
Last year we arranged for Lee to get help from a social worker. He only went twice. We saw him recently for the first time in 9 months. My mother-in-law brought him by to see the new baby. After he left, I went to see that social worker. He couldn't talk about former patients, so I just asked him straight out if he thought Lee was capable of killing people.
Because of patient
The
confidentiality.
man said yes.
Why hadn't you seen him in 9 months?
He's going to school in Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa, where is he living?
In his trailer.
Santa Rosa.
Sonoma County. We're going to have to go for the Vallejo DA.
It's been 11 months since you talked to this guy, and now you want to search his trailer.
If we find something, great. If not, we get his prints and handwriting samples from both hands.
I sure will shut you down.
What if I can get a second opinion?